Welcome back to Marcus at Work Media. So this time we have multiple Kendrick fans trying to convince a Drake fan that they're wrong about the boy, his impact, his position in the culture, and kind of how everything fell out before, during, and after the battle. Now, this video comes courtesy of the YouTube channel, The Stop. It's an hour-long episode. Go check it out and view the whole thing for yourself. In this video, let's touch on a few highlights in order to get your opinion about what this Drake fan is saying in defense of the boy and what the Kendrick fans are saying in response to rebuttal and hopefully change the mind of the Drake stan. Let's see how this works.
My next claim is Drake is not wrong for suing UMG after the battle.
How is he not wrong for suing because the song got too popular?
If you feel your job, your employer has wronged you or used manipulative tactics to harm you during a negotiation period, there is nothing wrong with exercising your right and suing them, or at least trying to uncover why it happened and how you could correct it.
Whoa, so we coming in hot. I see. Drake is in his right to sue about the battle. What? Now, we all know how we feel about that. The battle was the battle. Handle it with the lyrics. In no uncertain terms, should the battle turn into a court proceeding? That in itself is blasphemy. But obviously, the Drake stan disagree.
He popularized. I mean, he gained from that same method that he claims Kendrick and Universal used.
What method did he gain from?
He said the numbers are fake. They were using streaming farms, all that stuff to make that song bigger than it really was. No, the song was great because it was telling all of the stuff and explaining, breaking down your lies. Now, well, not yours, his lies. So basically, he was breaking down how Universal is the worst ever. But when it was his time in battles against Meek, against, well, he never really went against Pusha T. But when he tried to say anybody else, yeah, it benefited him or any song that he want to do, like Hotline Bling, and they would say, okay, let's inflate the number so it could be really great.
And my guy's right. He ain't had nothing to say when he was using the same systems to push his music. What we had, 21 Savage, one of his main contributors, had how many millions of streams removed? We have bot allegations around your boy all of this time. I mean, some of this could be wrote off as just haters and coincidence, but when a coincidence keeps happening, we gotta start looking at it.
His last good album was with 21 Savage when he stole 21 Savage style. Like he does with every other album.
Oh my God.
With every other artist. He does. That's what he does.
Okay.
That's what he does. He links up with an artist. He try to steal this swag, this style, their fans, so it could be his fans. That's all.
You know what?
Does.
I didn't think I would say this when I came here today. I agree with you. They're not good albums. They're not good albums. They're great albums, and some of them are classic albums. You're right. Now, this is the reason why I say that. Now, again, you say what you don't like. That's your preference. That's personal opinion. And maybe your music taste just is not that great, which is that could be possible. So let me play by your theory. You believe that he has these fake numbers and these fake streams, but that he's still being botted a decade later from Take Care. Does that make any sense? And again, he's in the middle of litigation, right? We're still uncovering documents. So do you listen? Let me finish now. You believe that while he's suing the label for these tactics, that he would be engaging in the same thing that he's suing them for in the middle of a lawsuit?
All right, you tried to say that. How do we know that Drake is coming up with these? Of course, he knows how the streams are being botted when he's been a beneficiary of the botting. He labeled it out in his lawsuit through the litigation and in the paperwork. He says that they're using X, Y, and Z. They're paying for streamers to play the music, to promote it on YouTube and promote it on streams, because he's received the same benefits, these same tactics were used for him, so he was able to recognize when it was being done to him.
How do we know that he's using these bot systems? How do we know that UMG did that for him? Why wouldn't they? If they allegedly is doing it for him, and it's been put on other UMG related artists, which that's majority of the industry, why would Drake be the only exception? That makes no sense. So you're saying it doesn't make sense for Drizzy to use these methods in a contract negotiation while a contract negotiation is happening if he's accusing UMG. I agree. It doesn't make sense, but that doesn't mean that that's not what's happening.
And then you also talked about, well, he's benefited from these things and he took an L and he's trying to repurpose it. The public perception is an L. I agree with you, but I don't think him suing was him trying to vindicate himself. He's not an idiot. I think once he knows that he's sued, people are going to clown you for it. But what is more valuable? Are you looking at this as someone who's, yo, I'm just only looking at this from a rap perspective, or are you looking at this from a business perspective? This is this man's livelihood. So if he feels a label cheated him out of $100, $200, $300 million, why would he not exercise that right to see what's going on?
I got you. When you engage in a battle, what is the purpose of that battle?
To win.
In a rap battle, to win.
To win.
To be seen as what?
It's a victor.
As the victor, the best rapper. So in rapping, to be the best rapper, we don't sue each other. That's the culture of rap. So when you engage in the battle, you're not doing it on the purpose
Well,
of...
he's not suing Kendrick Lamar.
But you're suing. You're not supposed to sue at all. Yes, he's not suing Kendrick Lamar.
You just said that Drake makes up these rules, but you just made up your own rule.
No, that's the rule of battling. It's we're going to go at each other.
Did we assign, who made the rules?
No, because he's doing it for himself.
So let me get this straight. The Drake fan is saying the Kendrick fan is making up rules by saying you should not be suing over a battle. That is making up stuff. Talk to any seasoned professional battle rapper, amateur battle rapper, any fan of the sport, hip hop head, producer, DJ, in on the business side. You can cover all spectrum of the business and the appreciation of the craft, all the way from the fans to the boardroom, and ask any one of those individuals how the culture will view a lawsuit after a rap battle. Everybody knows this. So for him to get on there and make it seem like this person is making up rules, come on, man. Come on, man.
He's saying that, oh, I want my money. I'm doing this for me. I'm engaging in this lawsuit because I want more money.
If that could be one of the reasons, sure.
That was the reason that he said. He said, I was renegotiating a deal with my label, and then they didn't pay me the money, or now they inflated the streams to make me seem like
why is that wrong?
Because you engaged in the battle. You knew that was the risk going into it. You know, if you already know.
So he engaged in a battle and knew that a label would use certain tactics to devalue him in contract negotiations?
Exactly.
I don't think that that's true, and I don't think there's any.
Because if it was done to benefit him, he wouldn't have said nothing.
But again, how do you know?
How do I know that what?
That if these things were done for him or not done for him?
Because if you would have won, you wouldn't have said nothing. Would you have sued if you would have won? If the perception was, if the perception of the culture was Drake won the battle, do you think he would have still sued the label for saying that he called me
if it
a
hurt
PDF?
If it hurt him in contract negotiations, I do believe that that's a possibility. But again, I'm not him, and you're not.
So it's not about the allegations of the song. It's just about the song being promoted.
It's about the business. It's not about the battle. He's not suing Kendrick directly. It's about unfair terms of his negotiation and how he was put in a position to challenge his business dealings with UMG because it appears that they were using unfair illegal practices to devalue his standing within the negotiation. It sounds good for a person that doesn't know any of the backstory. Although with face value, it's nothing wrong with questioning business negotiations to see if there's any crooked moves going on with the business deal. Now, we're not trying to defend UMG because we know they got a history of screwing over the artists. I know that's one of the arguments. That's not what we're saying. That's fair to establish. However, all we're saying is it seems mighty suspicious for that dispute with his business dealing with UMG to spawn from a rap battle. So although we can see the business implications, it just feels wrong. If the two was not connected, the battle and the business dispute, then we wouldn't have anything to say. But the two are joined at the hip, and he's using the battle as a reference to the business.
Drake has done more for hip-hop than any current artist. Hip-hop has been the most dominant genre in the world for over a decade, and the leading force behind that has been Drake. You can look at the numbers, who's the most streamed artist. You can look at the numbers and talk about the collaboration with other cultures, whether it's UK or whether it's in the Caribbean. He has put hip hop at the forefront of all those things. So by him doing that, every other artist has been able to benefit.
I don't always think that Drake is for us. I don't know where Drake stands on political things. I'm not saying that Drake has to be Common or Nas, right? But I don't know what he is. He's an enigma. He's a chameleon. A girl told me the other day, a chameleon in our culture is like you're there for yourself. The sales are cool. I get it. Kendrick has equally decent sales, right? Grammy nominations and wins, very close. Cultural impact, you can't say that Kendrick doesn't have a more cultural impact than Drake.
And I notice you're doing something here, and we'll talk about culture as we get deeper into this debate. You keep saying our, as if he doesn't belong to it. But if you look at his lineage and his family history, his father is a Black American from
That's
Memphis,
why
Tennessee.
It's very confusing.
His uncle, is another one of the most influential musicians who helped Prince, right? Which is one of the greatest musicians who's ever lived. So I know we're gonna get into this more, but I just had to stop you there because
I love that. That's beautiful information. But a lot of times with Drake, I don't know that because I feel like he's so alienated himself from his like fans. Like
Drake has done more for hip hop than any other artist. Prove him wrong. Some people mention Kanye, some people mention Jay, some people mention a lot of different other figures. I will admit, on face value, Drake has done quite a bit far as throwing a lot of features out there, the Drake stimulus package and all of that. But we gotta ask the question, is that for Drake's benefit or is that for the artist's benefit they're featuring? Is it for the artist on OVO's benefit or is it for him allegedly doing the OVO sweatshop in order to get more music out because he might be running dry creatively?
You think that Kendrick Lamar has done more for hip hop than Drake has?
I think Drake has done a lot. I'm not saying he hasn't.
So if not him, then who? Who is your person who you think has done more for hip hop than Drake?
I can say Kanye. I can say
I don't count Kanye as a current artist, but if you want to do Kanye.
How many artists do we look at? We could try to say that Drake has reached out and given a feature there and then he drops them off to irrelevancy. How many artists has Drake signed to his own label, steals their greatest songs? You just mentioned Party Next Door, who's not even a hip hop artist. Drake has stolen Party Next Door's whole career, derailed it, and then jumped on it and took all his best work and then put it out as his own. So Party Next Door can't even shine to be the artist that he is because Drake can't stand to be, he has to be the star of the limelight of everything that he does. He's jumped on Block Boy JB's song. He jumps on these one hit artist song and then you never hear from these artists ever again.
So it feels like we got to get a little bit into the motives with this. So on face value, on paper, yes, he has features and credits with all of these people that was not on his popularity level. And some would look at that as a good thing, but we don't look at that as a good thing. We look at that as you jumping on the next wave of anybody bubbling and you trying to use that strategy to stay relevant and stay ahead of the trend. So that's how I look at it, even though this Drake stand is saying they look at it as doing great things for bringing awareness to hip hop.
So this claim of that you're trying to paint out there that Drake is just the greatest and he's done so much for hip hop. Yeah, he's done so much thievery. That's the type of work Drake has done.
That was cool, but I hate to tell you that you're wrong, right?
Go ahead.
So all of the things that you just said, have we heard any of those artists echo that point?
McConan, that was Drake's own artist.
Okay, well, McConan would be the one person who's still working in a fast food restaurant by his own choice, right? That was his own choice. And Tuesday, Drake out on Tuesday, remixed it, the song went up. Is it his job to now coddle McConan through the rest of his career? Well, let me go. McConan has had opportunity over a decade to try to put out more music and more records. Nothing has come from that. Now we could talk about Party Next Door. Again, I've already cited that, Drake and him doing that collaboration album gave Party his most commercially successful song, put Party on the biggest tour that he's ever been a part of. Do you hear Party Next Door complaining? No, because Party Next Door is an artist who comes out and does what he wants to when he wants to, and is also a prolific writer, not just in the hip hop melodic space, but also in R&B and in Caribbean music. And his best work he actually gave to Rihanna, and him and Drake co-wrote some of those songs. So I can't say that.
Now he's addressed the OVO sweatshop, the infamous alleged OVO sweatshop. And what does that look like? About putting on artists, giving them the #1 hit, giving them their Grammy nomination with Party Next Door, all of these things that he say Drake is doing to help the culture and the artists around him. Okay. Then they brought up McConan. Now a video was surfacing with McConan. He was working at a fast food joint and people was like, what happened? He was under OVO. He did some hits with Drake and all of a sudden Drake is in this position and McConan is in this position. Is that Drake's responsibility to be concerned about what his other artists are doing. Kendrick fan is saying, hey, that is your only job.
But even going back to the McConan point saying, is it not Drake's job to coddle him for his whole career? He's signed to Drake's label. That's literally your job as running a label, is to prompt up your artists and put them into stardom. But just like the rest of hip hop community, where we take some of these artists, we say we're going to sign you to a deal because we want you to be these big artists. No, we don't really want you to be a big artist. We're actually trying to shelf you. We're trying to put you on the shelf and take all your best creative work and use it and pillage it for ourselves. That's a lot of what's been going on, especially in Drake's career. And then you go on and mention all these other people like the Joe Buddens of the world. If he just talks about a Drake, he's going to make money. That's a byproduct of Drake's greatness. Drake, that's not Drake giving back. That's just a byproduct of people calling out what they see. Just because people call out what they see, maybe you're looking at it from the perspective of Drake is so great that's why it's working, versus the perspective of the truth, the honest truth of everybody knows this is bullshit, so we're calling it out, and that's why it gets praised.
There's a million things in the world that are BS, but do all of them draw dollars, clicks, and views? No. Right? So we have to accept it. Like I said, I gave you the quote out of Joe's mouth, right? I didn't make this up. And we can cite YouTubers or cite media personalities or Twitter profiles or Instagram personalities who literally eat off of Drake hate. That is what the past 2.5 years of hip hop have been. It's been a Drake hate train.
As running a label is to cultivate your artists to make sure they're getting ahead. And he seems to have dropped the ball with not only McConan with that, but several other OVO artists that we barely hear of today. So what do you guys make of this madness? Do you feel like the Kendrick fans was able to instill some small piece of logic into the Drake stand so they can understand that they may be more glazing than trying to get a legitimate stance on Drake's reputation and impact with the culture presently and moving forward? Put your comments below. Let's talk about it. This is Marcus at Work Media, and I'm out this bitch.
So you have told me that Kendrick and Kanye have done more for the culture, but you have yet to point out what they have done. You said Kendrick gave the people a moment and united them.
Yes,
Drake
Super
is
Bowl. That's a huge moment.
How many moments has Drake given you over? I'm looking at the camera here. Look at the people at home. How many moments of your life has Drake given you?
Drake is not like us. Oh, you know what? People is not like us. He's not like us. He's not like us.